Hey lovely Yaa sisters, it's your girl Obaa Yaa back with another video. Thank you for tuning back in again today, and if you're new here, hey girl, you're most welcome to the family. In today's video, I want to talk about why your natural hair is still dry despite all your moisturizing efforts, despite slapping on the moisturizer. Okay. So if you're interested in knowing what exactly is the reason why your natural hair is not staying moisturized long enough, or why it seems like the moisture just evaporates immediately you apply your moisturizer, then stay tuned. So now, without any further ado, let's dive right into this video. Choosing the wrong product, not reading the labels, like being misled by the labels on the product, yes, that happens. And of course, using a product out of its purpose, like butters and oils. Using the wrong product could be one of the reasons why your hair isn't staying moisturized. Of course, there are so many products out there, and it's up to us to go to the store, pick the right products for our hair, and then use the product. There are different products out there that claim to be moisturizing, and if you pick up the product and you read the label on the back, you will find that moisture, which is water, typically they will write aqua, is nowhere to be found. Or is on the bottom of the list. In reading labels, or how products work, is that the first ingredients are what is the most contained in the product. Did that sentence make sense? I hope it did. Like, if the first ingredient, let's say, is water, that means the majority of the product is made up of water, and then the next, and then the next. So that's how it works. But if you find that moisture, aqua, is like somewhere on the list of the bottom, then you know that that product is not really moisturized. It's not going to moisturize your hair. So that's something you have to look out for when going out to purchase a product. Take it, don't just trust what is written in the front. Take it and read what is written on the back, and make sure that moisture is among the first 5 ingredients. The first 5 ingredients is what the product is mainly made up of. So that's one thing, choosing the wrong product. Or using the wrong product, like using stylers as a moisturizer. Stylers are not moisturizer. You can't use a gel to moisturize your hair. So some people might wash their hair and go straight into styling, omit the step of adding a leave-in before applying a gel. That is not going to moisturize your hair, so your hair will dry out. Another thing is using oils and butters as a moisturizer. That is not the purpose of oils and butters. They are not meant to moisturize your hair, they're meant to seal your hair. I'll talk more about that later. I actually have a video where I talk about butters and oils being so bad for the natural hair. So if you're interested in that video, then click on the I button right here. After watching this video, you can check out that video as well. Another thing which is really big is not having a proper moisture protein balance. Okay, it is very important that our natural hair is balanced. Being balanced does not just apply to natural hair, it just applies to human being in general, to us in general, as a person, as a human being, as an individual. How much more clear can I make this? It's basically essential to be balanced in every area for everything to function properly. If you are out of whack, that's how people say, right? Like the Americans say, if you're out of whack, or if you're out of balance, things are not going to function properly. And that's the same with our hair. If your hair is out of balance, too much of moisture or too much of protein, it's going to affect your hair's health. And the signs being dryness. Either way, you're going to experience dryness. If you have moisture overload, you're going to experience dryness. Even though it sounds as if, how can moisture overload lead to dryness? Yes, that is. And I have also a video talking about moisture overload and protein, and you can also watch that right here to learn more about that, because I don't want to go into detail because this video will be too long if I was to do that. So if you want to know more about moisture overload and protein, what's the difference, yada yada yada, click on the I button right here and it will take you right there and you can watch that. So yes, you have to have moisture and protein balance. Not too much protein, not too much moisture. Products that you're using contain too much protein, which means you have to check and see if your moisturizer contains, if your deep conditioner contains protein, because there are some deep conditioners out there, moisturizing deep conditioners, that do contain a little bit of protein, and that might be even too much for your hair. So you might have to swap it out for a deep conditioner that doesn't contain protein at all, or you need to add more protein into your deep conditioning treatment because you have too much moisture and you lack that strengthening factor from protein, because protein gives your hair strength, moisture gives your hair elasticity, it keeps your hair flexible, but you need the balance of both so that your hair will not be dry, brittle, and break off. So this ties into my previous point, which is moisture protein balance. If you know your porosity level, in most cases you would know whether your hair is more protein sensitive or not. Low porosity hair tends to be more protein sensitive because of the way, the structure of how low porosity hair is made up of. For some people who are low porosity, they can handle a certain amount of protein, or it depends on the kind of protein as well, because there are different kinds of protein out there. And they affect different types of hair differently. Someone's hair might like silk protein and detest protein from eggs, and it could be vice versa, but you would only know if you have observed your hair, if you actually know your hair. What I'm trying to say is that you have to understand that with different porosity levels, it requires different amounts of protein and moisturizing. It's important for people who have high porosity hair to moisturize their hair frequently. They might have to even moisturize their hair multiple times a day, depending on the severity of their high porosity level. And for people like that, they might have to carry leave-in spritz and then an oil, all in mini form, have it in their bag, and then just moisturize their hair during the day if their hair is out. If you're going to wear your hair out as a high porosity natural, that is something I would recommend you do, that you have something to moisturize your hair during the day, because your hair will dry out definitely, whether it's midday or by the end of the day, and you have to moisturize your hair at least once every day as a high porosity natural. Typically, if you have low porosity hair, you can go longer without having to re-moisturize your hair, but it's up to everyone to know how far you can go. This will tie into my next point. If you have been moisturizing your hair maybe, let's say, once a day as a high porosity girl, then I think it's time for you to increase the amount of times you moisturize your hair and push it to 2 times, morning and evening. And then, like I said previously, if that doesn't work out, you might have to moisturize your hair midday as well. For people with low porosity hair or medium porosity, it depends on you. You have to observe your hair to know when to moisturize your hair. A rule of thumb that I always say, or for me, is that it's important not to wait until your hair is feeling dry to moisturize your hair. That is where observing your hair comes into play. After wash day, like that's the baseline, okay? Wash day, baseline, you moisturize your hair. From that day forward, you count how many days or how many hours does it take for your hair to be dry again. That is after doing everything right, using the right products, using everything, sealing, blah, 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 doing all these things right. How long does it take your hair to be dry again? So if it takes your hair 3 days before you have to re-moisturize your hair, on the 3rd day your hair is dry. So that means on the 2nd day you should moisturize your hair so that your hair doesn't get to the point of where it's dry, so that you are, like, let's say, always ahead of your hair. Once your hair is dry, it takes longer for your hair to get back to the point of being moisturized again. But if you're moisturizing always ahead, your hair stays constantly moisturized and it's easier to keep it moisturized. I hope what I said made sense. It's important to have the right techniques or knowing the right way to moisturizing your hair. From individual to individual, it's different. There are different kinds of methods of moisturizing. There's the LOC, LCO, or LC, or LO, but it's up to you to find which one works for you. For me, I don't do the LOC, I do the LCO method, or LBO. After washing my hair, I apply my leave-in, and then I apply my butter, which is my shea butter, a little bit. And please if you're using butters and oils in your hair, you can't use like, you can't be heavy-handed. I am someone who is heavy-handed, but you can't be heavy-handed, especially if you're low porosity. It's a no-no because you're going to experience buildup, which I'll get into later on. And so I use a tiny amount of shea butter, and on top of that I use olive oil to seal everything in. And my hair typically stays moisturized. If it's in twists like this, it's going to stay moisturized for days and days and days, and I'm good to go, and I don't need to re-moisturize my hair. And if you have to re-moisturize your hair, you can't constantly be reapplying butters and oils and butters and oils. Your hair will get to a point where it can't absorb the moisture anymore because the butters and the oils will block your hair. It will get to a point where it can't because they've coated your hair to the extent that the moisture isn't penetrating anymore, and the butters and the oils are just sitting on top of your hair. So that is why it's important to know the amount, the quantity to use, how to use it, when to use it, how often to use it. Okay, so that your hair actually gets moisturized or gets the moisture in. And this leads me to my next point, which is shampooing and clarifying your hair. If you're someone who uses gels, oils, butters on a regular basis, it is important to shampoo and to clarify your hair. You can't be doing just co-washing or water washing alone. That's not going to get rid of the oils. There's no one fixed way for everybody. Every individual has what works for them. But if you want to use butters and oils and gels and still do the co-washing method or still doing the water only method, it's not going to work. Your hair will dry out because you are going to experience buildup. Buildup comes from product being piled up on top of each other, plus dirt, plus sebum, and you're not really washing, you're not really getting your hair clean. So it's just building up and coating the strands so that no moisture is able to penetrate anymore. That is something to take note of. Shampooing and clarifying is important, and not only in the sense of preventing buildup, but also when shampooing, it's important. Like, I can break it down into two things: shampooing and clarifying your hair regularly to prevent buildup, and then using the right shampoo for your hair, because some shampoo can be too drying, and if you're shampooing your hair too frequently, that could also lead to dryness, because as we know, shampoos strip our hair from everything. Depending on the shampoo, typically clarifying shampoos strip your hair from everything and they don't leave anything behind. Moisturizing shampoos, on the other hand, do strip your hair a bit, but they tend to leave a little bit moisture in your hair because they have some moisturizing agent in them, which is less drying to your hair. So if you're someone who washes their hair once a week or twice in a week or more regularly, then I would advise not to be using drying shampoo all the time, but to use moisturizing shampoo. And I would say once a month you clarify your hair. That is, if you're using butters and you're using gels and you're using all that, if you know that you're heavy-handed and you're using all of that, a lot of that, then you have to clarify your hair once a month. If you're someone who doesn't use any oils or little amount of oils or little amount of butters, and you don't use any gel, then you can get away with washing your hair, like let's say every 2 weeks, and clarifying your hair maybe let's say every other month. It all depends on your hair. I can't sit here and tell you what to do. That's what you have to learn by yourself. You have to observe your hair. You have to know what works for you. I'm just giving you these tips and these ideas so that you will know what to look out for. But I can't tell you that this is what you have to do. So every 2 weeks, wash your hair and use this and use that and use this. I can't do that for you because I don't know your hair. And then of course, the important thing is be hydrated, girl. Be hydrated, drink your water. In fact, you can pause this video right now and go and grab your bottle and drink. Some of you might have not drank water this morning, maybe, or whatever time it is for you you're watching. It might be in the morning, you wake up, first thing you should do, drink water. Drink warm water. Drink your water. Water is life and it's refreshing. So I can't wrap my head around the fact that some people detest water. That's all I drink. I don't drink Coke, I don't drink Fanta, I don't drink juice. I drink water. When I go to restaurant, I order water, sparkling water with lemon. That's what I drink. Why? Why don't you like to drink water? You need to drink water, okay? If you want your hair to be hydrated, to stay moisturized, you have to actually drink water. If you don't drink water, you see that your skin is dry, your body is dry, and your hair will be dry as well. So it doesn't matter all the products that you apply to your hair. If you actually aren't drinking water, your hair will be dry as well. So drink the water, okay? Just grab H2O and drink. All these things that I said won't make sense if you don't know your hair, if you don't understand the way your hair ticks, the way your hair does for your individual hair. Okay, so not everything that I said might apply to you, so you have to pick out what works for you, but you can only do that if you know your hair. So my dear, if you don't know your hair by now, take the time to learn and understand your hair, and then it's easier to deal with your hair if you know what to look out for, if you know how to handle, if you know what to do. It's easier to do if you know what to do, but if you don't know what to do, you can't do. Hey, quote Obaa Yaa. Anyway guys, that's the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have anything to say with regard to this topic, kindly leave a comment down below, and also don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you haven't already, and to subscribe as well and turn on the notification bell so that you are notified when my next video comes up. I love you guys so much. See you again in my next video. Stay blessed, stay healthy, and stay safe. It is your girl Obaa Yaa. Obaa Yaa. Bye.